What's up, everybody? Gordon here again. Sorry about being so late. School. What can I say? Today I want to talk about a couple things. First off, deepest condolences to Marcus Santos Silva, who apparently lost his father due to complications from COVID. Really sorry to hear about that, bud. And I'm sure that I speak for all of Red Raider Nation when I say that, we hope that, anything you need to get through this that is given to you. So, big news for Texas Tech going forward, though. Corey Williams, new hire, guy that was a assistant coach at Arkansas. He's also been an assistant at Oral Roberts at one point. Played in the NBA for the Bulls. Won a championship with them in '93. He wasn't like a star with them, but he played with them. I think it's going to be a big addition. He's another guy that I think can help really develop players, and that's a huge deal. And then we've seen already some signings. Ethan Duncan picked Texas Tech. Rumors have it he picked it over Texas. Chandler Jacobs is the big one right now. D2 prospect product, played at DBU. Guy can ball. I mean, I watched some film on him, not a ton. It's kind of, finding all this information is not always the easiest to do when you're trying to do other things, but definitely got some information on him. Guy can ball. He throws, he's got some range. He's a fantastic shot creator, and I think that's going to play very well into this new sort of Tech offense that I think we're going to see, this very up-tempo offense that we really have a guy that can shoot. I think that anybody who's sleeping on D2 guys is just, I don't know what you're watching. I mean, D2 is still very competitive. And these guys, there's a lot of guys that go to D2 maybe because they just didn't get the attention out of high school. There's a lot of things that go into that. So certainly something to kind of keep in mind. Keep an eye on Chandler Jacobs. I think he's going to be a huge pickup for Tech going forward. I think he's a guy that can really bring some big oomph. There's also some tall guys in the portal. We're not going to really get into that. There's some guys being targeted by Tech that are tall that I think would be beneficial. I promise this isn't going to be totally a Tech basketball channel, but right now there's a lot of Tech basketball stuff going on. Which brings me sort of to the apex of the vortex of Texas Tech sports right now, and that is the rivalry with, or perceived rivalry, I guess you could even say, with the University of Texas. So we all know that Texas is Texas, right? With Chris Beard leaving to go to Texas, it stirred up a lot of animosity, a lot of hard feelings, a lot of frustrations, right? A lot of unhappiness, I think is a pretty good way to put it. There's now rumors, and I don't know that these are founded. The fact that it's even a rumor is really just humorous to me, which is why I'm going to talk about it a little bit. There's rumors that Chris Beard is talking bad about Texas Tech to recruits, even potentially, and again, these are rumors. I haven't been able to found that, I don't know that they're founded or not, but again, I just find humor in the fact that these are even rumors, that he may be even reaching out to people that are not targeted by the University of Texas and saying like, hey, don't go play at Texas Tech, and giving like reasons why it's not a good place to play, which is funny. If it's not real, cool, right? Like, that's awesome. But if it is real, it's like, you wanted Mark Adams. You called him a lot. You wanted him to sit in the middle seat and wear orange and be on the plane, and he was like, no, I'm not going. We went over that, right? So the fact that this is even a rumor to me is just funny, because I can just see Chris Beard getting phone calls from, the boosters at Texas who are going, hey, we thought you were going to get Mark Adams here. Like, the guy who created your defense that really your team hung its hat on. The architect. And he didn't get him, and so now they're like, well, you better figure this out. So, like, there's just kind of this idea of, like, that it's humorous, and I don't know that I would like to hope that it's not real. I would like to hope Chris Beard is not actually trashing Texas Tech prospects, or trashing Texas Tech as a whole. But if he is, I mean, hey, I hope his team is better than ours, because if not, he's going to be real embarrassed, because you talk trash and then got your butt kicked. So we don't know. Again, these are rumors. You can find them on Twitter. They're kind of spreading around. But it's just funny to me that it's even potentially a rumor that this guy would be doing that. Man, which brings me to my next point, which is Texas Tech baseball. So for those of you who don't follow Texas Tech baseball, we're pretty good at baseball. As a matter of fact, the Big 12 is pretty good at baseball. And it's the baseball has a weird scheduling setup compared to like other sports because they play a lot of non-conference games throughout the season. Whereas football, it's like non-conference and then you pretty much go into conference and that's it. Basketball, you have a lot fewer non-conference games throughout the season. Baseball is not that way. Texas Tech baseball has been up and down throughout the year. I will say that. They've overall really good record, not a great record in the Big 12. But a solid team overall, a team that has performed very well, I think. 26-8 overall, 7-5 in conference though. That 7-5 is not great. The biggest thing is they're 3-3 on the road and they're 3-3 at neutral sites. And those are the two things I really want to focus on because the 3-3 at neutral sites. So they played at the very beginning of the season in what was called the College Baseball Showdown, which is the Big 12 versus the SEC, and they lost to Arkansas, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State. Now, I do want to point out that all of those teams were ranked. Arkansas is now the number one team in the nation, and Tech lost 13-9. While there are no moral victories in sports, really, I don't think there's a moral victory unless you're like way an underdog. That's not terrible, right? And these were all, non-conference games, first 3 games of the season. Those are 3 tough teams, right? To jump right out and play, 3 top 10 teams right off the bat. So there was a lot of frustration among Tech fans very early on because you had this situation going on, and it was like, dude, I mean, now I do want to point out really quickly that Ole Miss is currently ranked number 12, Mississippi State is currently ranked number 4, and Arkansas is currently ranked number 1. So those 3 losses are to teams that started in the top 10 and are still all in the top 15, top 12 even, actually, if you include, if you want to get real specific about it. 3-3 in neutral sites. So all 3 of those losses have come to top 12, even now at the time they were top 10 teams. A lot of non-conference wins. They're not spectacular on the road though, right? On the road, 3-3. Some of those losses coming to some good competition, some coming to competition that they probably should have won. They did lose a game to Oklahoma State at home. Oklahoma State is a pretty good team this year. I think they're a team that definitely should be watched. They're currently ranked 24th in the nation. They did have a precipitous fall this last go round. They were 13th in the nation. When Tech lost to them, they were 14th in the nation. They have beaten some really tough teams. They did really terrible against Kansas State. So at Kansas State, they did really terrible. They won the first game 17-1, and then they lost 2-7 and 4-10. Played pretty well against TCU, lost the first game, and then won the next 2, finishing that series with a run rule, winning 17-7. Won a series against West Virginia at West Virginia. That's huge, I think, considering that's a road game. So, and this is the reason that I wanted to talk about them, and you'll see kind of how I'm pairing this up to Texas. So the next game is April 20th, which is tomorrow, against Oklahoma. That is at a neutral town, sort of. It's in Amarillo, sort of a neutral town. It's technically neutral, so it'll fall into neutral. Then they play Baylor. Baylor's not a terrible squad, but I don't think Baylor is as good as some of the competition that they would face in other areas. Then they play New Mexico, and then this is where the things get interesting because April 30th through May 2nd, a weekend series, they travel to Austin to play at Dish Falk Field, which I think is University Federal Credit Union Field now. I think it's University Federal Credit Union Dish Falk Field or something like that. Anyways, but they travel to Texas. Texas is ranked very highly. Texas is ranked number 3 in the nation now. They've been number 3. So and these rankings, by the way, are coming from NCAA's rankings, not a coach's poll or anything like that. This is what NCAA has them ranked. Actually, this is the D1Baseball.com top 25 is what I'm currently looking at. And if you look at like Baseball America, I think they have Texas ranked like number. I think they have them ranked number like 4 or something like that. But I like the D1 Baseball. I mean, Tech is ranked pretty highly in a lot of these, so I'm fine with all these, right? But this is a big series because it's on the road. Tech has not performed very well on the road. It's against a top 5 team, and it's a conference game. Tech has not done spectacular in conference, though they do have plenty of time. Like I said, they have Oklahoma. That's a conference game. Baylor. There's 3 conference games. So leading up to Texas, they play 5 games. And of those 5 games, 4 of them are conference games. So that's definitely a chance for them to really make moves. And Baylor is all at home, so that's huge too. Tech is very good at home. Arguably unbeatable at home, right? Like, not necessarily unbeatable, but good luck winning a series at home. So traveling to Austin, playing Texas. Texas is having a great year in baseball. You can't argue that. They're having a good year. They historically, they have a good baseball program. So, there's certain sports that I think certain teams need to be good in. And I've said this for years. College baseball is better when teams like Cal State Fullerton, Stanford, Rice, University of Texas, when those teams are good, college baseball is better. Because if you beat those teams, if Tech goes down there and they win 2 or 3, if they take the series in Austin against a quality Texas baseball team, it's that much better than a team that's just terrible and you're like, dude, who are these guys? Like, what is going on here? So college baseball is better when those teams, but college football, I've said Alabama, Notre Dame, USC, Michigan, Ohio State, I think Tennessee, I would even throw Tennessee and Florida State into there. Nebraska, certainly, K-State, these old school teams that have history, when they're better, when they play, when they're a team that is actually a quality team, the sport is better for it as a whole. It's just like everybody knows if Tiger Woods is in the tournament, the tournament's going to be better, right, for golf. So big thing coming up there. That's a big series. End of April, the last of April, 1st of May. Keep an eye on that one. I'm going to be talking about that some more, I'm sure, especially since, tomorrow they play Oklahoma. Texas Tech baseball plays Oklahoma. And then this weekend they'll play Baylor in the weekend series, and that's going to be huge. I think that's one to watch. If you're in Lubbock, Texas, go to one of these games. Be loud. Let's get this conference record up. Let's get Tech, right now, not a spectacular conference record. Like I said, 26-8 overall, 7-5 in conference. If we could win, these 4 conference games and be 11-5 in conference going into this Austin series, and then take 2 or 3, I mean, like there's a lot that could really go well here for Texas Tech. So keep an eye on this. This is certainly something to keep an eye on, especially given this new sort of animosity of Texas Tech and Texas. So certainly something to keep an eye on. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think about Texas Tech's baseball programs? How do you feel about the new trajectory of, we talked about the trajectory of what I thought we were going to get out of Texas Tech basketball, especially with the hiring of Peary and Mark Adams and what was coming. And now we're getting some playmakers, or some guys that we think could be playmakers. What do you guys think? Are you excited? Also, be sure to like and subscribe, tell a friend, hit the bell notification, all that stuff. If you have Twitter, follow Mr. Peary. Follow Coach Peary. He is 100% in, and it is highly entertaining to watch. He has a very strong Twitter presence. Easily one of the best parts of my day is seeing his tweets. So shout out Coach Peary, and we'll see you guys soon.